part of the Story Over Everything collective. This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Henshin Inspection presents Super Sentai Sanctuary. I will be discussing what does it mean to be a hero, and is Taro becoming a messiah figure? This is Super Sentai Sanctuary episode 15, Have Faith. Avataro Sentai Donbrothers episode 15, Welcome Back Taro, was originally aired June 12, 2022. The writer is Toshiki Inoue. The director is Katsuya Watanabe. This is his third episode in a row. He also directed episodes 13 and 14, consequently. I'm not going to give you the synopsis because I never do. I'm going to go straight into my negative stuff. So, one thing I really didn't like in this episode was I want to know what's happening to the people in the cars that Tsuyoshi attacks while he's the Hitotsuki. Are they being destroyed? Are the people dying? I don't like that it isn't addressed at all. It's like completely ignored and just passed over. So, something positive is that I like that Jiro considered executing Saruhara and Haruka. I mean, it's a little bit weird, but I also kind of get it. And it's just kind of funny that like he's in this role of like a king warrior type person where like, oh, you did this thing to cross me or wrong me, I'm gonna have you executed. It's like, well, should you really be doing that? I don't know, but it's funny because he's like even the way he dresses, he's more like an ancient archetype of a character, or he's fulfilling the role of an ancient character who's like, oh yeah, I could just have somebody killed. Like well, anyway, this episode gets biblical, so I feel okay bringing this in. But if you look, there's some stuff that happens with King David when he becomes king, where it's like, oh, this guy said something, so I'm going to have him executed. And it's like, is that really okay, though? I mean, you're the king, so you can do whatever you want, I guess, but, like, should you do that? I don't know. Anyway, moving on to another positive thing. Haruka going lame and Saruhara losing his muse was really cool. I like the Kibi Point consequences, short-lived as they were, and I'd like to see if there's more stuff that has to do with the Kibi Points, and the fact that Saruhara and Haruka both have negative Kibi Points now, or if, like, they haven't even talked about how you accrue Kibi points, so I want to know what that is. I want to know what Kibi is, and I keep saying I'm going to look it up, or thinking to myself I'm going to look it up, but I never do. So if one of you has it, let me know in the comments, please. What is a Kibi point? And what's a Kibi? Anyway, so direction, I've got a couple things to say. Junkyard fight. Enough said. No, I mean, for my text, that's enough said, but I'll talk about it in reality. So, in a minute, the cube dimension was really cool. I liked that. I'd like to know what it's called just because I'm pedantic and nerdy. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing the show, and you probably wouldn't be listening to it if you weren't like that at all either, right? So, what do you think it's called? Tell me your name. Sometimes I make names for these things because we don't get them in the actual show. Anyway, Saruhara's reflection in that pool was really good. It was really cool. It very much conveyed like his sadness about not being able to compose haiku anymore, and I thought that was a really cool, quiet scene, and that was really neat to see, especially contrasted with that junkyard fight, which didn't happen directly after, but just conceptually they're both in the same episode, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, man, that junkyard fight was really dope. I want to make some GIFs out of it. I may or may not. I probably won't. I don't have a lot of time, but anyway, it was super cool. I loved what is he, Don Dragoku, stabbing his spear through the car windows and stabbing the Hitotsuki, Tsuyoshi. That was really cool. I like how he and Don Momotaro were like going back and forth and just like batting this guy around and just like outclassing him with their agility and stuff. It was super cool, super neat. There was a lot of fun stuff about that. I got a little ridiculous when he was spinning like a top and got deflected off of the staff and then like, smacked to the ground. But the stabbing through the car stuff was like top shelf. It was amazing. It looked fabulous. So that was super cool. I really enjoyed that. Made it a spectacle. So on the writing, does the Noto / Cerebran Knights attacks on people, indefinitely putting them in an alternate dimension coma, make them any less villainous or evil than they seem to be at first, because when we thought they were killing people? Does it make the Donbrothers less virtuous for healing or purifying those people instead of casting them into the Shadow Realm? And does it redeem Tsuyoshi for trying to kill the artist who kidnapped Miho? Remember that? He wanted that guy to get struck by the Noto so they would go away, or so the guy would get killed, because he, I guess, didn't want to do it himself. And then finally, does it open up the Cerebrans to be heroes as well, and have like a full-on redemption in the context of this show? And I guess, here's another question I didn't have in my notes. If they can send people with their weapons through a special attack, or through, some sort of element or metal or material on their weapons with the killing strike like that, or so to speak, killing strike, does that mean they can also go to that world actively and retrieve them from there? I don't know. Seems kind of weird. Also gives me a bad vibe where it reminds me of Lupot, where that ice dude turned out he was just sending people away and putting them on ice, so to speak, and he could bring them back anytime he wanted. kind of weird. Anyway, moving into my general notes, I'm just going to share, actually, you can read the general notes in the show notes. So I'm going to skip over them and get into the reflection and kind of wrap things up, because I've been going for, well, a little longer than I wanted to, but it's actually not been that long. So I'm going to talk about, you know what, before, actually, you're going to have to excuse me and indulge me a little bit, because I'm going to wax philosophical and talk about religion a little bit, bring the Bible in here, because it's being referenced by the show, so I'm not going to not bring it up. Yeah, I'm not going to not bring it up. This is who I am, so I hope you enjoy. I'm going to try to make it as entertaining as possible, but I will go over at least one thing in my general notes. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about this anywhere else. This show feels so anime at times. Part of me feels like Haruka falling on Taro is weird and off-putting, and like it's supposed to be fan service or something. But part of me finds it really sweet and innocent somehow, even though she's like, falling near his crotch, which I didn't like. Like the way they were both smiling was kind of weird, but also, I don't know, it was kind of sweet too. That's a weird thing. I don't know, are they almost like big children to me? I'm not 100% sure. I mean, he's 22, she's like 15 or 16, so she's, too young for him or whatever, but I don't know, I almost wonder if there could be like a budding romance between Haruka and Tarou, but maybe he'll just be like a big brother to her, and I think that would be cool too. She is his Oni sister after all, so that would be very appropriate, and it'd play off a pun, and if you wanted to be I'll just say, if you want to be like a gross anime fan, she's his Oni-chan, and he could be into her because she's his little sister or whatever, but like, that's not my bag, baby. So anyway, I'm going to jump right into, I'm going to try to make this mostly about, in the reflections, what does it mean to be a hero? And then I'll talk a little bit about Taro being or becoming a messiah figure. So, what does it mean to be a hero? Well, it's funny. I was watching My Hero Academia last night, a little bit, and it was, well, anyway, Midoriya said, he was quoting All Might, I think, and he said, the very essence of being a hero is meddling in business that doesn't belong to you, or something like that. And I think that's an interesting definition, but more so, I think being a hero, or what it means to be a hero, is to put yourself second, and to put yourself in harm's way, which is a definition, putting yourself second in order to help others. So, like, Haruka and Sarahara were heroic in sacrificing their Kibi points and even going into debt. I don't know how you can do that, getting negative Kibi point accruement in order to save Taro. And they wanted to go even harder, I think. They were asking Kaito to take more Kibi points, and he was saying he didn't know if it was possible. Not that they couldn't do it, but he didn't know necessarily how to, but they were willing to do it. And like, she was in a wheelchair, suited up as Oni's sister, trying to fight. And I'm not saying disabled people are less than, but if you're a superhero who part of your power set is you run around and you swing a bat at people and hit them with it, and that's your upgraded form, it's a little more difficult to do that while you're in a wheelchair, especially because how are you going to swing close to your enemies and then hit them with the bat? Although, in addition to hitting them with the club, she does shoot the spikes out, so maybe she could do that. But I'm just saying, she's diminished from what she was. Maybe one day, if she'd stayed in the wheelchair for longer, she could have adapted to being the first, like, wheelchair-bound Super Sentai hero, which would be okay. I wouldn't have a problem with that necessarily. But she was at a disadvantage at this time because she had no ability to adapt. And yet she was suiting up and fighting and not canceling her transformation as she previously had right before Taro died. Same as Sarahara. His whole haiku thing, it gets him out of his head, and he's not in the combat because he's in thinking about the fact that he can't haiku. So like, he's less heroic in that instance in putting himself in danger, but still him volunteering his Kibi points was good. Although I don't know if he explicitly said that he would volunteer more negative Kibi points in order to get Taro back. I don't quite remember that, but irregardless, you have that going on with them. Inuzaka kind of gets to be the foil for them, in that when he's attacked by Tsuyoshi in his monster form, as soon as the others show up, he just nopes out and runs away. And he's like, oh, I've got something else to do. I'm busy, I think is what he said, basically, because he's looking for Natsumi. So he's putting his needs and his desires before himself. And I hate to put it this way, but he is the Black Ranger. He's, I don't know necessarily where they got this reputation, but it feels like the Black Ranger, maybe like Black Condor. No, that's the actual Jetman. From Gotcha Man, the dude in Black Marker. I don't remember what they called him. But anyway, that dude's a little sour, a little dour, a little like begrudgingly heroic, or like he's more about like destroying the enemy than he is protecting the people or whatever, right? I mean, but functionally, he can help perform the same task, though, of taking down the enemy, and it protects people, but he's doing it as an attack on the enemy as opposed to something to help the people with. So, anyway, I kind of feel like there's something being said about heroism with Inuzaka as a foil for that. So, but Haruka is definitely on the good side there. And then, I mean, that issue looks like it's going to get played with. Based on the preview for next episode, it looks like we're going to play with what it means to be a hero and what, you know, it means to be a villain and how a person can choose that or not, I guess, maybe. So that's kind of interesting to me. But more than that, what else do I want to say? What else does it mean to be a hero based on what we saw in this episode? I'm trying to think. Sonoe isn't heroic, but he's helping make amends for the wrong that he did. So that would be, I mean, talking more about morals. But gosh, I don't know. Taro has superior strength and might and ability to defeat the enemies, and the others wanted him back, not for that martial strength, but for who he is as a person. They were trying to save their friend, and that's heroic and noble from death, because they were willing to sacrifice everything and put themselves in danger for it, which is basically kind of what I already said and how I already defined a hero. So, you know, I don't think I'm going to belabor that. I think I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the the idea of Taro becoming a messiah figure. And I guess I literally mean, like, from the Bible, what does the Messiah do? What is the Messiah, you know, what is it said the Messiah, or, you know, what do people know of the Messiah? Well, he is not of this world, literally, just like Taro. He gives up his life to save others and to defend themselves. But, you know, it's interesting. He didn't actually purposely sacrifice himself in the last episode to save his companions or anybody else. He, because of his honesty, which the Messiah can't break, can't sin, can't lie, can't break like the commandments of the Torah, of the Bible. So like he had to be a perfect individual. So Taro is kind of a perfect person, and part of that is that he cannot lie. So when he refused to lie in, you know, being in line with who he is as a like an ascended human, basically, or ascended person, somebody who's higher than a normal human being, he left himself vulnerable to this attack, which killed him. So, like, it kind of breaks down there, and I'm not saying Inoue is necessarily, like, a Christian. He's trying to weave in this, like, Christ metaphor in here or whatever, but, like, some of the details around him feel like it, especially with him dying like that, and then with him, like, miraculously having faith in Haruka that she could walk, and then she does after she's gone lame. Like, what about the mechanics of the show and the story would lead us as an audience to believe that somehow she was able to increase her Kibi points enough to make things right and to heal herself, basically, through the accruement of enough points to reverse her balance, her negative balance, and bring herself into the positive so that things are okay. Like, there's nothing there. I mean, I guess now that I'm thinking about it out loud a little bit more, maybe through her selflessness and through, you know, being willing to fight the enemy under, you know, under great duress, being wheelchair bound and such, maybe that was enough to get her over. But we don't even know mechanically how the Kibi points are obtained, so we can't say that that's what it is. I mean, are they karmic points? What is it? I really don't know. But that is straying a little bit from how Taro plays into this, and he's some sort of messiah figure. I mean, I don't know, maybe he is, because he is a savior of mankind from another world who, you know, has companions and allies that he's assembled around himself. And you know what? This is a slight spoiler. Well, let me say it this way. If it turns out that one of his companions ends up betraying him, kind of like Tsuyoshi did by becoming part of the enemy, then that's even more appropriate. Again, he didn't die for Tsuyoshi. He didn't die because of Tsuyoshi. So I don't know that that's fair to say, but I don't know. I think it is interesting that there's like these little parallels, and I wonder what that's about. And I just think it's kind of fun I just think it's kind of fun to talk about, especially with my background and if you're aware of all the different stuff I do and work on every week. So, yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say for now, except for I'm going to move on into the score for the episode. I'm going to give this episode a 7 out of 10. The junkyard fight was brilliant. I enjoyed all the character and team stuff with Sarahara and Haruka. We got some cool insights into the background of the story of the show, but there are still lots of unanswered questions, and that's good for intrigue, and I feel good about where the story is going from here. So definitely all positive for me. Why isn't it an 8 or a 9 out of 10 then, or a 10 out of 10? I don't know. It wasn't perfect. There wasn't something, or I'm not necessarily saying there was something missing, but just because it was good doesn't mean it was great, I guess I could say. So that's about all I have to say for this. I've already got up my TikTok stuff, talking about the episode, the best thing, the worst thing, and the most interesting thing of the episode. And I think I go into a lot more detail there on. I try to keep those as unique as possible to that feed, so that if you check that out and enjoy those, you can also listen to this show and enjoy this without getting me repeating everything that I said. So I did talk about the Christ-like thing or the Messiah type thing with your boy Taro, but I approached it from a different angle, and I went into some different stuff on TikTok talking about that. So, all right, thank you so much for your time and attention. Check out all that stuff I told you to check out, and this is MJ signing out. Until next time, I leave you with peace and blessings.